Mary Foss says, y'all are funny. Do you think the TMZ information will get in? All right, let's do it. We're ready, guys? TMZ, all right? You ready? We're doing it right now.
All right.
So maybe you guys have heard about a little thing called attorney-client privilege. So if I'm advising Flash, if Flash is my client, and Flash has stolen Valiant Renegade's pack of tampon applicators to snort coke, right? And I'm talking to him.
Damn it.
And he's like, yo, it wasn't actually me. It was my friend Ricada. Actually, Ricada was the one that stole it. I still have attorney-client privilege because it's something he told me. I got to keep it secret, right? It's between me and Flash, right? That's the most protected and sacred right is attorney-client privilege. Nothing is getting past that. But there's also journalistic privilege that's much more limited. Journalistic privilege is not attorney-client. It's not anything you say. If you saw when they were doing Adam Waldman, when they deposed Adam Waldman, almost everything he said was attorney-client privilege. Because it's pretty much any conversation between an attorney and their client is attorney-client privilege. The only thing you can say is like, did they hire you? Yes. What did they hire you for? Generally, you can speak about it. But that's about it. That's literally where it ends in terms of what you can say. But journalistic privilege is this. It's very limited. It says that if, let's say, Flash is Valiant's confidential source, he wants to keep Flash anonymous.
Call me Deep Throat.
Yes. Flash, Valiant has that right to protect Flash from being disclosed. So that's called journalism. He doesn't need to disclose his source. He can just say, somebody told me this. And as a journalist, somebody told me this. Well, here's where this shit gets crazy. Here's where the shit gets just wild. Because TMZ has now filed an emergency protective order, essentially emergency motion to intervene for the purpose of asserting journalist privilege. This is, I'm not going to read all this because there's some like legal jargon in here.
First Amendment, yo.
I'm a simple Florida lawyer, and I've got about an IQ of, 100, which is only slightly above the Florida average. So I try to keep it very simple. But essentially, this was filed by the head of business for TMZ. And what they're saying here is that TMZ was given the evidence of the stair video. So the, sorry, not stair video, the smashing bottles, the cabinet video where he's slamming the cabinets.
I'm pretty sure that's after he found out he lost $650 million too. So
exactly.
I think anybody would be pissed if they lost that money. I don't know when they don't ever point that out.
You know what they can do, Flash? They can point it out on a rebuttal because Johnny Depp's going to get called again.
Yeah, I hope they do that.
Because
I think that'd make people really understand like why he was so pissed.
They should do that. And by the way, okay, so there's this article that TMZ published says Johnny Depp goes off on Amber, smashes a glass wine bottle. Here we go. Number 6. This is really the meat of it. The video was provided to journalists at TMZ by a confidential source.
Yeah, I wonder who that is.
Exactly. TMZ promised the source it would maintain their confidentiality and not disclose their name. So on the witness list is Morgan Tremaine. Morgan Tremaine was a field assignment manager with TMZ.
But he's not anymore.
He is no longer an employee. They say it here. They are fucking shitting themselves because Morgan is going to get on the stand and he's going to disclose who it is. And here's the thing. They're trying to say that Morgan has nothing to do with the video and that the informant is not Morgan's informant. And why is this important? Because in the law, the protection is for the journalist. So the journalist gets to say, I'm not going to disclose my source. But if Morgan is a journalist and it's his source, he gets to choose whether to disclose it or not. So if he chooses to say that the source was who, because who is it, Valiant?
Amber.
Yeah, it's Amber, guys. It's fucking Amber.
Didn't she? Wasn't that one of her? If I'm not mistaken, wasn't that one of her infamous Freudian slips during some testimony? I mean, when I gave it to TMZ, I mean, did you see that duck?
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, that was so. It was Amber. We all know it was Amber. Amber's fucking lying, right?
Let me ask you this: is the fact that
but here's the coup de grace here, though. I just want to put this out here because this gets me personally salty. TMZ are such fucking cucks, and I say this with every bit of love and respect for how cuck they are. They went and tried to strike all of us lawyers for playing the TMZ clip when it was played in court. A court document, understand how crazy this is. A court document is a public record. It's free.
You think that would be a fair use issue? Maybe.
Yes, it is a fair use issue. And when we challenge him, like Rekieta is like, no, fuck you. Right? Because what I did was I didn't bother, Rekieta is a big shyster lawyer. I'm a junior shyster lawyer, right? I'm still on my up and up, right? So I'm not pissing off the gunt yet. I'm waiting. So I just clip it out because that's the way to get rid of the copyright claim. You just clip it out and you're like, okay, fuck it. Like it's in a stream that I did for 3 hours and I'm going to clip out like 30 seconds of it. Like, okay, who cares? But Nick's, very stubborn, as you may or may not know. So, he challenged it. And of course they're going to lose on fair use because it's in a court document. It's in a court thing. But the fact that they tried is a fucking ballsy move. And they didn't just do it to me. They didn't even do it to small creators. They're trying to silence this. And the only way they're able to claim that copyright is via this. And if this is here and it's tied back to Amber Heard, they could come back and impeach her for trying to mess with the proceedings like this by leaking this video. It really shows bad faith on the part of Amber Heard if they're able to get her as the leaker. So they're all freaking out right now to cover for Amber Heard. Yeah.
My question would be this. Okay, so we've got a named individual here that was a former employee of TMZ, this Morgan Tremaine. Morgan, what is it? Tremaine. Okay, Morgan Tremaine. He says, they state, he had nothing to do with TMZ's receipt of the video. Now, receipt to me is a loaded word. That could mean, did he physically take possession of it? Was he just the contact point and Amber uploaded it via FTP to their website? A transfer protocol thing. I mean, receipt. Well, what does receipt mean? This is my question, though. He's no longer a point there in line item 8, no longer an employee of TMZ. Is it possible, Andrew, because I know these laws vary from state to state. I've had to deal with them in a few different states, but not, I don't know if TMZ is based out of California where they are. Would they potentially have him under, like you said, he could choose whether I can testify because I don't work for TMZ anymore, or would he potentially be under an NDA to where he couldn't pass along quote unquote privileged information protected by an NDA for the time of his employment at TMZ?
Mm-hmm.
Is that possible?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I was just curious.
Yep.
Because it's funny, like, because TMZ has pre-filed this before. They haven't been subpoenaed for anything, right?
No, they're literally, this is why this is so crazy, guys. It's because they're so worried about this that they filed an emergency. You don't file an emergency motion if you're like not worried about what's going to be said at trial.
Right. This wasn't a response to a subpoena that they got. That was my question.
No, not at all.
Okay, gotcha.
They came before the court to do this. There was no subpoena. There was no like, hey, we're going to reach out to TMZ. No, you wouldn't. And once again, procedurally, you don't file emergency motions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at the filing date on this, May 24th.
That would be today, I think.
Yes, at 2:14 p.m. It's the P right there, so that's PM.
They filed it in Fairfax. So let's see who was on the stand.
Somebody flew down there real fast.
Who was on the stand at that point, or just before this was filed? Then
I think what happened here was they gave their witness list over, and Amber Heard's team called up TMZ right away. Ballard Spar. By the way, I've worked with Ballard Spar. They way overcharge, so just understand that. Not with this guy though, but on different matters. But anyways. I guarantee it was a witness list. I guarantee they saw Morgan Tremaine on that witness list, and they dropped a grumpy, and they literally filed this immediately. They had their lawyer draft this up immediately. Now, just to be clear, because Rob practices in Virginia, and who's Law and Lumber, and also I know there was like a back and forth on Legal Bites' channel, and I'm not going to get into law nerd shit. Once again, I'm going to simplify this. This is a new this privilege and asserting this privilege in a non-criminal context is very suspect. This is, in fact, only this year did they even allow you to assert journalist privilege in a civil context. Usually it's for criminal cases.
Mm-hmm.
So the journalists will trying to protect someone from criminal prosecution, which I get, right? You're trying to protect them, so it encourages them to speak up. You don't want them to be charged with a crime. I get that, right? Because maybe, right, that source did something that might have been illegal in order to get that information. It's possible. So you want to protect them from being charged with a crime. And also encourage people to speak up. But yeah, I mean, it's very new. There's arguments for and against this applying, but the majority of people have said, by the way, that they will deny the motion. And I think for me, because I mean, I cannot be fair about this and bias, my bias is against the shysters. And I think TMZ putting out that video slandering Johnny Depp and then the mainstream media jumping on top of it has disadvantaged Johnny Depp. I think the justice here, the equity here, is to bring the truth to why they did that, how they did that, and who did that. Mm-hmm. So I think it would be justice for them to grant this and allow Morgan Tremaine to speak. But go ahead. Do you have something there, Valiant? I know you were going to
I was just curious. I guess from some perspective, I can completely understand, even though if TMZ itself, maybe their legal team thinks, look, this is a shot in the dark, but we got to make a statement on this, because I would presume if this motion is denied and this person, I mean, why would you name the person? If he had nothing to do with it, why would you be worried about it? Number one. Mm-hmm. Number two, I feel like you'd have to file a motion like this to save face, because if this gets to go into court and they're going to testify to the fact, well, this is the confidential source of this material that popped up in this trial, that's going to go probably a long way to discredit TMZ's reputation of being able to acquire any type of future confidential sources being passed to them. Like their reputation is staked on the fact that we get information, we don't tell you where we got it from, we just leak it and we make a bunch of money from it. We pay these sources a ton of money to give it to us. If that veil is broken, I guess in their minds, they're going to feel like that could financially impact them. Now, that being said, if this is a perfectly legal thing to do in the state of Virginia, it's like, no, you have to turn this over based on this case. We're not going to try to hide it. Well, you can't do anything about it, but the public perception, I guess, for TMZ is what maybe they feel is in jeopardy. If this actually goes into a courtroom and they have to name the source that gave them this material, I would think that would jeopardize future sources from passing along information to them, at least in their own head.
Yeah. Yeah. Any thoughts on this, Flash? You have any thoughts on this about whether TMZ and leaking and all this other shit that's going on with the mainstream media? Because this has been an issue, not just with this case, but I think this is a broader issue.
Well, I'm wondering, so can they, if this guy reveals the name, can they sue him?
No.
They can't do that.
No, he's not. He's a former employee. So, I mean, unless he stole corporate records, but no, just for revealing it. Also, they can't sue him for doing something completely legal and participating in a court case. Like they would have an issue there if they tried to come after him for testifying in a court case, right? If he was trying to do anything illegal, it won't be permitted. Like the testimony won't be permitted if it was, the result of in a criminal context. This is like widely misquoting the doctrine, but it's called the fruit of the poisonous tree. So if you're getting something like that, if you're breaking in somewhere and you break into a bank vault and you get some information, right? They're not gonna allow you to use that, right? So if the court is going to allow them to testify, nothing that he says is going to open him up to suit, right? Unless it's accusing them of a crime falsely, but I don't think they're doing that. I think all he's going to say is Amber Heard was the one who sent us this video.
Do you think that he's going to get to testify?
Yeah, he's on the witness list.
No, I mean, so can this motion stop it?
It can. I think they're going to, the prediction of myself and the majority, I think, of LawTube. I can't speak for everybody, and I know some people think it's going to fail. I think Rick Hogue was like, oh, it's going to fail. But I think Law and Lumber said Rick Hogue said they're going to grant it, which means they won't allow him to testify. But the majority of people, including myself, I'm going to say, I think they deny this motion and I think they allow him to testify.